If you are a law student watching this video and you are probably in your year 1 or coming into your year 1 as a law student, one of the challenges you are going to face in understanding legal method has to do with the concept of law, order, and freedom. We have concept of law, morality, and justice. We then have sociology of law. We now have philosophy of law. These are some certain concepts: law and state, law and sovereignty. All these things are certain concepts you are going to be confronted with. But don't worry, in case you are having this problem already, I'm here to guide you. And after this video, you are going to understand when we say the concept of law, order, and freedom. Just stick to this video and believe me, you will definitely understand by the end of this lecture video. By the way, my name is Kingsley Ifeanyichukwu. I'm currently a 400 level law student, and what I do on this very channel is to provide insight and study tips for all law students in the challenges of becoming tomorrow lawyer. If you are new here, I encourage you to subscribe so that you'll be receiving video notification every single Wednesday and Friday when we post a video. Now, this is our lecture 7 on introduction to legal method. We have done a lot of video on legal method. When we talk about law, order, and freedom, I want you to get something and get it correctly. It is actually not very difficult. Are you getting me? Law, order, and freedom is a concept in legal method which basically aims to give you a clarity as per the difference and the relationship that exists between law, order, and freedom. And don't even worry, because at the end of this video, I would like you to watch to the end, because at the end, I'm going to tell you how the lecturers are going to ask you questions on this topic. So don't bother. I'm going to help you to provide you with a way to study this particular topic, because most of the lecturer will always have a way they capitalize, because this is one of the hardest aspects of legal method. I remember back then in my year 1, I was like, what is this topic all about? I keep reading the textbook. I didn't get anything. Here I am with the deep knowledge of it. When we talk about law, order, and freedom, we have 3 things to look at. First thing is first, what are those things? What does it mean? Then the second thing is, what is the relationship? And then the third thing, what is the difference? That is basically any lecturer want from you as regard to this topic. And I am not here to actually give you a note on this. I'm not here to read textbook for you, because I believe that every law student watching this video have textbook that he or she is reading from. So what is the need of coming to YouTube channel like this to be telling you, where you are paying with your data, to be reading notes for you? No, I'm here to provide clarity so that when you are done watching this video, you go and pick up your legal method, or you go and browse, or possibly go to our Law Made Simple Legal, website. You can see it on the screen, lawmadesimplelegal.com. Once you search it on Google, you are going to see our work on website where you can get your lecture notes. So my purpose is that when I'm done, you will have insights when you go to read your lecturer question. So I'm not here to read notes for you, but to break it down for you. When we talk about law, I have defined law in so many perspectives in my videos. But for the sake of this video, law is a body of rules and regulations that regulates particular individual in the society. Thomas Aquinas echoed that law is an ordinance of reason made for the common good and promulgated by one who has care of the community. So many other authorities have defined law. And now, when we talk about order, order simply means a systematic framework that determines how things should be done in a particular society. You could see order as tradition. You could see order as custom. That very typical thing that governs your community. That is what we regard order. Order is quite different from law. Order simply, in this sense, have to be with standard, with the formalities that things ought to be done. And then when we talk about freedom, freedom is the liberty of an individual to behave the way he like, to speak the way he like, to, lie down the way he like. That is what basically freedom is all about. And now we have understood the first part, which is what? The understanding of the 3 concepts, right? I believe you are following. Please give this video a like. Now, when we proceed further, we then have, what are the relationship? Our purpose in this video is to see whether there is a relationship. That's why I told you that at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you what your lecturer wants from you. If there is a relationship, to what extent does this relationship exist? Is there any close relationship between law, order, and freedom? And to what extent does that exist? That will lead us to what? The difference. The relationship between law, order, and freedom is that law lay down a particular rules that will govern a particular individual in the society. Then the order becomes the end product of law. In other words, where there is law, there is definitely an implied condition. I don't want to go into the nitty-gritty of legal jargons here, but where there is law, there is subjection or there is reason to ensure orderliness. Take for instance your church. There are ushers, right? Or there are church warden for Catholics. When you go, the duty or the role of this individual is to direct everybody to sit down carefully and not to make noise, right? These are their duties, right? These people, because of that their duty, what do we have? What are we going to get in the church? We are going to get what? Orderliness, right? That is it. This is just the simple thing about the relationship. Where there is law, there is definitely going to be order. Now, when we talk about freedom, freedom on the other hand becomes something that touches these three parts. It revolves these three parts. We talk about law, which grants what? Order. Then the freedom becomes the third child or the bona fide son or daughter of law or an order. Because if there is law, there are going to be orderliness. And then where there is orderliness, people will be free to move. Let me just bring this thing down. Assuming everybody comes to the church and this person is sitting anyhow, this person is sitting anyhow, this person is sitting anyhow, you will see that there will be no something like privacy, right? Because assuming everybody is allowed to sit the way he wants, probably you sit like this, I sit like this. You will be breathing this inside your nose and be breathing towards me, right? Like you will be like possibly even when you are talking, your speech can even touch my face because we are sitting in anarchy or in an unorganized direction, right? Now, because we have organized ourselves, which was provided by the law that says that you must sit like this, you must sleep like this, or you must, maintain your own home, build here, not build here. What we then have is order. And when we have gotten order, people can then exercise their freedom. You can then have the right to pass a road because there is a town planning law or environmental law that says you should not build here. But assuming everybody is allowed to be the way he likes, definitely you will not have where to pass, right? This is what we mean when we say law, order, and what? Freedom. But now, I want you to listen. The thing now is, what is the difference? What is the difference between these three concepts? Because they are not contaminants and they are not synonymous. And at the end, I'm going to tell you that all these things we are saying is definitely for a reason. The difference now is order, freedom is antithetical to each other. Order, freedom is antithetical to each other in the sense that if you allow everybody to live the way he wants to live, then there will be no orderliness. Remember, I have told you people the relationship. I'm trying to differentiate now. If everybody, let me just assume, if you have, I'll continue to use this church scenario so that all of us will understand it, except you are not a person, you are not a believer. Either you are believing in Allah or you are believing in Jesus Christ, and whichever. In fact, the Muslims have more orderliness in their worship. So it applies. Even in traditional this thing, when you are carrying your goat and fowl to kill, you don't just go and cut the leg, and there is a way you kill for the deities, or your ancestor will take your life on time. Now, if you have come to church and everybody is allowed to see the way he like, would there be freedom? There will be no freedom. So that is what we say, that order and freedom is antithetical to each other. Because if you go to church, your freedom to sit anyhow you like is not unlimited. That is, you cannot just carry your church and if you like, you sit at the top of the altar or you sit at the top of the gate. No, you are about to sit in a particular place. That is what we call what? Restriction, limitations. But assuming you are free to sit anyhow you like, that is freedom. But will there be orderliness in the church? The answer is no. That's what we say. Order and freedom is antithetical to each other. But now, I don't want to argue in the air because I believe you are a law student who by now you have understand or had what we call authority. If you are writing this, you are going to be citing authority. I'm going to tell you at the end how we are going to be doing it. So you are going to be citing authority. And now let me quote an authority that will buttress our point on this. We shall read it together. And this authority is coming from a judge that I love so much, a jurist in my own heart, Lord Denning of blessed memory. Lord Denning says, and I quote, "The law as I see it has two great objects: to preserve order and to do justice. And two do not always coincide. Those whose training lies towards order put certainty before justice, whereas those whose training lies toward the redress of grievances put justice before order. The right situation lies in keeping the proper balance between order and what? Freedom. This last phase here is where that concerns us at this most, because I think the Lord then here we are being, too advocate of justice like he always do. Lord then is just one kind judge that can, in fact, he can throw away any procedural law just to make sure that he dispense justice. He doesn't care what the law talking about in technicality. You always care about the injustice. So the last paragraph is the area that concerns us most, as what we are doing here. He says that the right solution lies in keeping the proper balance between what? Law, order, and justice. Now, the question now is, if I am free to sit anywhere I like in the church, is that freedom? Yes. Is that orderliness? No. Because your sitting, your posture, and whatever you do can conflict with what the church represents or what the Muslim represents. You see that in this case, justice has been short-lived. That's why Lord Dennis said that the virtue lies in the middle. Virtue middle starts. That is the Latin phrase that means virtues lies in the what? In the middle. That should be a balance. And now when we quote and now let's take a look at another justice who made a point, a succinct point on this. We have J.S. Mill, who expressed that no one pretends that action should be as free as opinions. On the contrary, even opinion lose their immunity when circumstances which they are expressed are such as to constitute their expression a positive instigation to some mischievous act. Let me explain to you, future lawyers, what this very man is saying. Under the section 39 of the 1999 Constitution, you have the right to express yourself. But that right is not unlimited, meaning that right is limited. You cannot, just because you have the right to say whatever you like, you go and accuse Kingsley of raping another man's wife. You cannot just go to the national TV and accuse me that I ate or I stole 80 billion naira in my office as a class rep. You cannot just go and label me that as the senator representing a suit lawyer in National Senate, that during my reign, I was, not coming to meeting, I was not attending, I was not representing my school. When obviously you are lying. If you try this to me, what you have done is that you have defamed me. And I have a right to maintain action in the court of law. So that is what we mean when we say law, order, and freedom. You have the right to speak, which is your constitutional right. Remember, we are talking about what's right. Freedom of what? Expression. Remember what we are doing. Law, order, and freedom. Let's even bring it down. You have the right of correspondence under the 1999 Constitution. That is the right to, as media, to take clue, to video, to capture things, and to report it. But you cannot just go into another person's room, or you cannot go into the private life. That is what I keep posting on my channel on YouTube. When I'm talking about, or even in TikTok, I'm talking about people recording another person. For instance, during the election, you'll be hearing P2B is speaking to this person, Wike is speaking to this person. In as much as we gain information from the shenanigans they play behind the closed doors, that amounts to constitutional infringement of individuals' rights, because you have no right to record somebody called, even if that person is your girlfriend. Any day you try it, that person can sue you under the tortious claim of defamations and so many more. Because your right to record, your right to express yourself, to use your phone, is still limited to another person's right to what? Privacy, section 37. So in as much as you are free to record, to own, to say whatever, own radio station, there should be a limitation to that your freedom in order for us to achieve what? Order. And what gives right to that order is what? Law. You see the relationship now between what are we treating? Law, order, and freedom. Check now. Now, let me take you to the most important stage, which I believe you have been waited patiently for. If you are facing this thing, look at what your lecturer is going to test you on. This is write short notes on law, order, and freedom. Differentiate between law, order, and freedom. Elaborate between law, order, and freedom. Examine between law, order, and freedom. Basically, in your level, write short note on this. That is because they know that you people may not have been abreast with some of this kind of elucidation and so many more. Practically dissect, escalate where necessary. They will not go, except that lecturer is ready for business. But they will always say write short note on. Now, what are you going to write? What you are going to write is this thing Kingsley Omei has been telling you, this story. If you can cram my story, cram it and tell it to a lecturer. Start first of all by defining what law means. Possibly cite authority according to Thomas Aquinas, according to Austin, according to who? Lord Denny, according to so many people that have defined law. Once you are done citing them like that, then come back again. You define what? Order. Possibly, I don't know whether there is authority that define order. You can use the Oxford Dictionary, you can use Black Law Dictionary. I say according to Black Law Dictionary, order has been defined. Just your normal understanding about order. Then you come to what? Freedom. There are many places freedom has been defined, or there are many things you can allude to a defined freedom. Talk about section 39 of the Constitution, freedom to express oneself, and basically freedom of movement. Whatever freedom means to you, say it in that particular place. Now, where are you heading? You have defined this thing, right? It then has to do with you blending each other. Remember how we started? We defined it. From there, we proceed to relationship. What are the relationships? I use the church example or scenario to paint the relationship. You can also do the same, using any relevant example where necessary to justify your argument or to make a point that is very, very, very clear. It's your lecturer. This is what they want from you. Now, when you have made this kind of juxtaposition, you then try to differentiate them. You saw how I did it. I differentiate them by telling you that order and freedom is antithetical to each other. They are inimical. They are antagonizing each other. Where there exists excess freedom, there is going to be chaos. There will be order. Where there exists excessive order, on the other hand, there is not going to be freedom. That's why then Lord Denny told us that virtues in middle start. Virtues lies in the middle. There should be a striking of balance. Are you getting me? That is what this thing is all about. Once you have strike this balance, you then make your own submission at the end. You can say, in summary, my dear lecturer, having critically analyzed this, and I proceed to say that for every society or any society to thrive, there should always be law that prescribes order, which invariably also give rise to freedom. But same law that prescribes order should in the same way curtail limitations or provide limitations to freedom. Because where there exists excessive freedom, there is going to be anarchy. But on the other hand, the society should not be so restricted that individual right to freedom become jeopardized. And under this heading, I submit that order and freedom are concepts that are conditions sine qua non to the societal existence and coexistence. With this, you are cruising with A. The law. So this is basically what you are required to do here. Now, we have made a lot of video. There is one we have made where we discuss law, morality, and justice. That one is also very confusing. We have also made another one on philosophy and sociology of law. So I encourage you to click this video above. If you go to this playlist there, every video you need, from introduction to definitions of law, all the authority you need, everything is there. It's there left for you to make use of it. How I wish someone was giving me this privilege when I was in your level. I could have been cruising possibly with anything above first class. Please, I encourage you to go and see it. And I will see it. Always remember to like the video. You can share with your classmates or reading group. I would also like you to go and watch the group video where I advise on how to pass this thing together. Make sure you are working with group. If you read alone, you will not understand. Work with group. People can be sharing video link like this to go along with. This person will share, this person will share. All these things are way that I pass through. And now all of them is helping me.